and Jerry Cooney's in big trouble. He's ready to go, and there he goes.
It was the closest heavyweight legends George Foreman and Mike Tyson ever came to fighting one another. In fact, the plan was for the two big punchers to collide later that year.
A doubleheader, Tyson-Foreman, in which Foreman is fighting the more formidable opponent.
It was June of 1990 and Tyson was on the comeback trail, attempting to put the pieces back together after his shattering February KO loss to enormous underdog James "Buster" Douglas.
Tyson and those guys were literally becoming more and more afraid of me.
If we could fit George in between there or something, I look forward to that also.
Foreman was over 20 fights into his unlikely ring return, one that had been launched in March of 1987 and was motivated.
12 seconds. There's 22 seconds left in round 6, and that left hook did it.
Mike Tyson reigned as a terrorist. I mean, he had this reign of terror. It's all over now.
In his most recent fights, he had beaten former title contender Jerry Cooney convincingly in 2 rounds in January, before beating Mike Jamison in 4 in April. Vegas heavyweight doubleheader The Road Back included 2 fighters on very different comeback trails.
Got to go out there and prove to the whole world that the age 40 is not a death sentence.
In the opening fight, George Foreman continued his return to the sport by taking on Adilson Rodrigues, best known for being ranked as high as the number 3 contender before being knocked out early by Evander Holyfield in 1989.
Adilson Rodrigues from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is probably the biggest hero in Brazil since Pele the Sock. Big, strong biceps of George Foreman. TV3 in Auckland, New Zealand, who are joining us for all of our fights involving Mike Tyson coming up. It always was in his career, especially in the early side. And he sets up the big right hand off of that straight left hand.
Foreman, who weighed a more than ample 263 pounds, lost the first round, but he was the sharper fighter in the second despite temperatures in an outdoor ring at Caesar's Palace near 90 degrees.
Rodrigues is a world-class fighter and something different. The right hand gets through. The first big right hand that George has thrown, it didn't do too much damage. George, very powerful guy and very dangerous. I remember George tumbling like a wounded bull in the center of the ring, and Ali never really throwing the big heavy punch that could have flattened him. There's 2 heavy punches thrown. The biggest thing to do with the downside of George's career, when you see great big guys like this, real heavy arms get fatigued as the fight progresses. It's interesting to note that George has only had to go 10 rounds 1 time, and in that fight, he won that on a decision. Both. One with a second round knockout, and one with a... So Rodrigues coming inside more than Dundee would want. He's open, there's a shot! A left hook catches him, and down goes Rodrigues. It looked almost like a grazing shot. It counts up to 5 and 6 and 7. He's not gonna make it. It's 8, 9, and 10. It's all over. A second round knockout for George Foreman.
You were planning to go a little bit further, I guess.
I thought the fight would at least go 5 to 7 rounds.
By a knockout, the former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
Tyson's opponent was the unranked Henry Tillman.
I'm a very competitive person, and everything I do, I try my 110% best to win.
Tillman was best known for beating Tyson twice in the 1984 Olympic trials.
I remember against Bone Crusher Smith that they just tied him up constantly all the time. Wow, with the right hand. The left hook catches Tillman.
Tillman's resistance lasted 155 seconds.
Richard Steele, the third man in the ring, has got his work cut out with Mike Tyson. Oh, the right hand! I doubt if he'll be able to get up from this. He hit him flush on the jaw with the right hand. It's up to 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. It's all over. Tyson, a first round knockout.
The winner by a knockout, Iron Mike Tyson.
How good did this performance feel for you?
Well, it helps, you come back, you got your win, it helps the confidence, but I want to fight often if I possibly can.
Did you see Foreman against Adilson Rodrigues?
I didn't watch anything. My main concern was to come and finish off Henry Tillman.
The next step for both former kings would meet each other in what promised to be an explosion.
Tyson Foreman, if when, how soon?
The irresistible force versus the immovable object.
I want to see the battle of the ages, 41-year-old Big George against Iron Mike.
Which would win? We'll never know, and it's a shame.
I really admired Mike Tyson. He wasn't that tall, that big, but he could hit you quick.
Cut out with Mike Tyson. Oh, the right hand!
Foreman and Tyson shared a ring, just not at the same time.